Just like the legendary React Native framework, which won't get to version 1, Legend States version 3 won't move out of beta, because they always get better. You got it? I guess that's why I failed to become a comedian. But there's been a lot of changes. So what are the biggest changes? First, React compiler compatibility. Legend State is moving away from the observer pattern with automatic get tracking to a new useValue hook approach. Why the change? The old observer method is not compatible with React compiler. You see, React compiler needs render functions to be pure. That means calling a function like state.get should always return the same value. But the React compiler wraps function calls in useMemo, and that breaks Legend State's reactivity because it relies on get returning different values when state changes. So the solution? Hooks! React compiler won't memoize hooks, functions starting with use. So now instead of state.get, you should use useValue, and everything works. Now, if you're already using Legend State, you might be confused. Like, wasn't there already a hook called useSelector? Yes, and that's change number 2. useSelector is now useValue. Why? The term selector has too much baggage from other state libraries, and it was confusing to new users, so it's purely a rename. Same functionality, clearer name, and just find and replace it in your code base. And what about Observer? It's not gone, it's just optional now. And Observer now is a performance optimization that merges multiple useValue calls into a single hook. And this is really useful for large components with lots of observable values. They also rewrote the types from scratch, fixing tons of bugs, especially around promises and nullability. This means better TypeScript experience and more accurate type inference and fewer any types. Next up, computed, proxy, and unified. They're no longer separate concepts, they're just functions inside observables. Instead of declaring a new observable and then say computed, you'll just initialize a new observable and add the computed inside. And number 5 is a brand new sync engine. So persist observable is now sync observable with a much more robust plugin system. Instead of the persist observable function, you can use configure synced and use a persistence plugin. Now you can have any observable use the new sync plugin you just configured. This makes it easier to sync with servers with multiple persistent plugins and customize sync behavior. And finally, reactive components got a rebrand. On web, they're now in the $React namespace. And on React Native, they're individual exports. Why? Better tree shaking, clearer intent, and no configuration needed. And to finish, a few more quick changes. Set and toggle now returns void instead of the observable. Onset is renamed to onAfterSet for clarity. And useObservable with a function is now reactive by default. And computed only recompute when observed. And enable React tracking with auto mode, that's now deprecated because it's broken in React 19. So how do you migrate? First, replace useSelector with useValue, a simple find and replace. Second, switch from observer with get calls to useValue hooks. Third, update computed declarations to observable functions. Fourth, migrate persist observable to sync observable. And fifth, update reactive components imports. Most old APIs still work, but they're just deprecated so you can migrate gradually. Or if you're new to Legend State, this is a great time to jump in. Thanks for watching, and since you watched until the end, you have to like and subscribe. Thank you.